you were acting general counsel for DOD for most of 2025, and now you're nominated to be the Army's top lawyer. So let me ask you, Mr. Young, do you consider your oath to the Constitution to include the First Amendment?
Yes, Senator, I do.
Thank you. We need independent journalists at DOD now more than ever.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a powerful Senate exchange where Senator Elizabeth Warren takes a firm stand for freedom of the press, calling out the Trump administration's alleged attempts to silence journalists. This hearing gets intense, and the points she makes hit right at the heart of democracy. Let's break it down in 10 sharp bullet points you need to hear. But before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss powerful political breakdowns like this one.
But when Trump's federal communications chair was unhappy with some of Jimmy Kimmel's remarks, he said media companies, quote, can find ways to take action on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC. The next day, Secretary Hegseth announced that journalists at the Pentagon needed to sign a pledge not to report information DOD hasn't approved for release, including unclassified information. DOD reportedly rolled those rules back, but it wasn't Hegseth's first crackdown on journalists, and I worry it may not be the last. It is the job of a free press to uncover problems that DOD doesn't want people to know about, like military families living in mold-infested homes, or Secretary Hegseth texting classified war plans. Mr. Young, you were acting general counsel for DOD for most of 2025, and now you're nominated to be the Army's top lawyer. So let me ask you, Mr. Young, do you consider your oath to the Constitution to include the First Amendment?
Yes, Senator, I do.
Thank you. We need independent journalists at DOD now more than ever. President Trump has ignored locally elected leaders to deploy military forces to Los Angeles, to DC, to Chicago, and he's told generals he wants the military to use American cities as, quote, training grounds, close quote, and handle the, quote, enemy from within. Now, this is extremely dangerous, and we need independent journalists reporting the truth, not just whatever spin Pete Hegseth wants to put on it. So, Mr. Young, would it be consistent with the First Amendment for DOD to revoke press credentials of a reporter for publishing a story that was critical of the Trump administration?
Senator, we're very cognizant and very conscientious of the First Amendment and the freedom of the press to be able to report as needed. It was my understanding that the policy was designed to inform the members of the press. The ability to access the Pentagon is a bit different than a normal public forum.
Well, I got to stop you right there, Mr. Young. I asked you a very straightforward question. I think you can answer with a yes or no. And that is it consistent with the First Amendment for DOD to revoke press credentials of a reporter just because the reporter...
Senator Warren opens strong, reminding everyone that a free press is not optional. It's written into the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. She warns about what happens when leaders try to control what journalists can and can't say. She calls out a shocking case, when Trump's FCC chair reportedly threatened media outlets over Jimmy Kimmel's jokes. Imagine that, a government official hinting that the FCC could take action just because a comedian criticized the president. That's how censorship starts. Warren then drops another bombshell. She reveals that Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon told journalists they had to sign a pledge, promising not to report anything unless it was approved by the Department of Defense, even unclassified information. Though that rule was later rolled back, Warren points out the obvious. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was part of a larger pattern of cracking down on independent journalism within the military system. Next, Warren highlights why the press matters so much. It's journalists who expose the hard truths, from mold-infested military housing to leaked war plans that top officials don't want the public to see. Without a free press, that truth dies in silence. She turns to Mr. Young, the nominee to become the Army's top lawyer, and challenges him directly. Does your oath to the Constitution include the First Amendment? He says yes, but Warren isn't done. Warren asks a direct question. Would it be constitutional for the Department of Defense to revoke a reporter's credentials just because they published a story critical of President Trump? At first, Young dodges. He talks about unapproved information and access policies. Warren cuts him off, demanding a straight answer. After several exchanges, he finally admits that no, it would not be consistent with the First Amendment. That's a win for truth, Botcher in per child when per true. But it took serious pressure to get there. Warren closes with a powerful statement. This isn't just about one administration, it's about protecting democracy itself. When leaders try to decide which journalists can report and what stories can be told, that's how freedom dies. She calls this a scary moment for America, but also a reminder that there's power in raising our voices. The press must stay free, and the people must stay informed. This exchange wasn't just politics, it was a defense of the Constitution. Warren made it clear, a government that fears the truth will always try to silence it. If you believe in the power of journalism, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more bold political breakdowns just like this. Until next time, stay informed, stay outspoken, and never let anyone silence the truth.